Hello everybody, this is Roberto Parker with Innovative Sports Training. Time for another video blog. Today's topic is cholesterol, the good, the bad, the ugly. Let's talk about some cholesterol facts. Cholesterol is a soft, waxy substance, also oily, found in every cell of the body. Helps to produce cell membranes, vitamin D, steroidal hormones, important for bile acid production, and plays a huge role in fat digestion because of bile acid production. There are high-density lipoproteins, and there are low-density lipoproteins. We're going to go into that in more detail here in a few minutes. Triglycerides are a source of energy for the body, but in excess can be problematic. Cholesterol is huge in the formation of new cell membranes. Helps in fighting inflammation. Now, many people don't know that. Without cholesterol, the body will not heal and repair itself. Here's another fact you may not have known. In fact, I didn't know until about 2 months ago in doing some research for this presentation. 3/4 of first-time heart attacks are individuals with normal cholesterol readings. Wow. 75% of cholesterol is made internally. That's 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams, which is made in the liver of the body on a daily basis. Here is a kind of a nerdy chemical schematic of cholesterol, if you're into that. Cholesterol is a vital component of every cell membrane on Earth. In other words, there is no life on Earth that can live without cholesterol. Dr. Ron Rosedale, medical doctor who is a highly respected authority in the study of insulin and cholesterol and how they interact together. High versus low cholesterol. The optimal level, according to medicine, modern day medicine, is 150 to 200 milligrams per deciliter. However, there are cases in which individuals who have levels well over 200 and can have extremely healthy lives. There are also cases in which people may have below normal levels and have metabolic disorders. Okay, what I mean by low is 150 to 200. Depressed levels have been linked to reduced serotonin, depression, violent behavior, Parkinson's, and even cancer. Okay, now here is a steroidal pathway here. Now I'll go into this in more detail in some other presentations here. I'll give you a link here in a minute. But you see cholesterol in the blue there? I call that the mother lode. It feeds the system. It feeds many hormones that are crucial for life and performance. Pregnenolone, DHEA, testosterone, estrone, estradiol, estriol, better known as estrogen. And if you jump over here to the left, from cholesterol to pregnenolone, it makes progesterone, it makes cortisol, which is your major stress hormone, which also makes cortisone. It also makes aldosterone, which is important for your heart and for blood pressure. Now, without cholesterol here feeding the system, this system would not exist. It would make life very difficult. In fact, we probably wouldn't make it in life. Now, this schematic, and here's the link down here. You can go to the presentation. It's called Robbing Peter to Pay Paul. This is an example of what happens when people become stressed out. They're not getting enough fat in their diet, which is cholesterol. Cortisol levels, adrenal glands become fatigued. Cortisol says, I need to keep this person alive, so I'm going to rob Peter to pay Paul, which is the title of that presentation I did. So I'm going to steal from pregnenolone. I'm going to steal from progesterone, which negatively affects steroidal hormones over here, DHEA, testosterone, estrogen, and also negatively affects aldosterone, which is linked to blood pressure and heart. Not good. Check out this link here, this presentation, to find out more details and specifics on that, okay? Vitamin implications. Vitamins A, D, E, and K or what we call fat-soluble vitamins. Without plenty of cholesterol, the body will not absorb or process those vitamins. I'm going to focus on vitamin D here for a little bit. When the body is exposed to sunlight, cholesterol in the skin is converted to vitamin D. I think most people know that. Vitamin D is a neuroprotector of the central nervous system. Central nervous system is pretty darn important, folks. Prevents oxidative rust by that neuroprotection. Oxidative rust is a form of, oxidative stress, I should say, is a form of rust in our body. So if you leave a nail outside that it becomes weathered for several days, guess what? It becomes rusty. That's analogous to what our bodies go through with oxidative stress. Studies indicate that lack of vitamin D can lead to schizophrenia and multiple sclerosis, MS. Cell membrane formation. Cell membranes are the outer layer of the cell and controls what enters and exits the cell. Nutrients, oxygen, and waste products. Pretty darn important. Protects the integrity of the cell. Cholesterol and phospholipids, which phospholipids is another form of fat, are the main components in the formation of cell membranes. Are you feeling me here, ladies and gentlemen? You see how important cholesterol is to our existence and to our health. Bile production. Excess cholesterol in the form of HDL goes back to the liver, where it's then converted to bile. Bile acids are crucial for the absorption of fat from the small intestine. In other words, if you don't have bile, you don't absorb fat very well. That is why people who had gallbladders taken out, where bile is stored, typically don't digest fat very well. They must take some sort of supplement or medication for that. Brain function. Cholesterol plays a very significant role in the synthesis of serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter and a mood hormone. It's your happy mood hormone. Without serotonin, you're pretty bummed out and pretty depressed. In fact, it can lead to serious depression. 25% of cholesterol is found in the body. Found in the body is located in the brain. That's 1/4, guys. Deficient cholesterol amounts can lead to nerve and neurotransmission damage. Depressed levels opens the door for depression, memory loss, Alzheimer's, MS, violent behavior, and suicidal tendencies. Physical performance. Cholesterol synthesizes the production of steroidal hormones, which play a critical role in physical work capacity related to sports, sex drive, work, and stress tolerance. Lipoproteins. Now I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this. This is where some controversy comes in between conventional medical people and people that are more holistic in nature. Cholesterol is an oil-based product, for lack of a better word here, and blood is water-based. Cholesterol needs to be transported to the tissues in the body for cellular formation and repair. They need an escort because, as we all know, oil and water don't mix. Lipoproteins are the escort vehicle for cholesterol to the tissues. High-density lipoproteins are 50% protein and 20% fat because protein is more dense than fat, thus the term high-density lipoproteins. Sorry for that misspelling up there, guys. Should not be Lipro-Proteins. My bad on that. Low-density lipoproteins are 50% fat and 20% protein, thus the term low-density lipoproteins. So the lipoproteins, guys, are merely escorts for cholesterol to get to the tissues of the body. triglycerides. That is the amount of fat in the bloodstream. Elevated fasting triglycerides indicates an inability to burn fat, or the body is manufacturing too much fat. Excess triglycerides have a strong tendency to store themselves as visceral fat around the organs of the body. Now, in my profession as a trainer and coach, I often take people's body fat. There is subcutaneous fat and there's visceral fat. Subcutaneous fat is the amount of fat directly located underneath the skin. Visceral fat is located around the organs of the body. That is extremely hard to measure unless you have some sort of a MRI device. Visceral fat is much more dangerous to the body in excess than subcutaneous fat, by the way. Excess cortisol will team up with triglycerides to produce excess visceral fat. Cortisol is made by the adrenals. It is a stress hormone. When out of balance, cortisol is a booger to deal with. It teams up with triglycerides to produce excess visceral fat. Now, you can have your cortisol levels checked out. I would advise you to check out not just total cortisol, but cortisol rhythm, which I offer in my business with my hormonal biomechanical evaluation, which I'll go over here in a few minutes. But that's important. HDLs. Let's go in more detail here. These are the so-called good guys, the good cholesterol. It takes cholesterol away from the heart and helps to reduce plaque. That's good. It's a protein, once again, that escorts excess cholesterol from tissues back to the liver, where they're converted to bile salts and excreted via the feces or reutilized by the body. LDLs. Now, these are viewed as the bad boys of cholesterol, but are they really? LDL transports cholesterol to all cell membranes and makes steroidal hormones. Getting back to our flow chart there, where cholesterol makes pregnenolone, it makes DHEA, it makes testosterone, it makes estrogen, it makes cortisol, it makes aldosterone. It's important for production and life stability. Now, more focus must be placed on the volume size of the LDL particle as opposed to the conventional LDL number on a lab report. In other words, in fact, I'll go to the next bullet point here and it will help kind of explain that. Small particles are problematic in that they can become stuck in the lining of the arteries and become oxidized, which leads to inflammation. So when LDL starts breaking off and it's not as dense, it can get stuck, particles can get stuck in the lining of the arteries, and they can become oxidized and inflamed and lead to atherosclerosis. Now, how do they break off? Because they're not as dense, basically. And when triglycerides go up, it typically leads to LDLs being less dense, which can cause particles to break off and cause inflammation and go on and on and on and on. Now, there's a way to check the particle size and the volume of LDL. Ask your doctor. It's called the NMR lipid profile. Now, most of them won't tell you about this. They'll just give you a typical lab report saying, okay, your LDL is too high or too low, but it doesn't really give you the specifics of the size, the particle size of the LDL. That's critical. I've had people that I've dealt with that said, well, my LDL is really bad. Well, is it? Is it really? Okay. Getting back to one of these statistics earlier, 75%, 3/4 of people who've had first-time heart attacks had normal cholesterol levels. So ask your doctor about that NMN profile, MMR profile. That's hard to say fast, but ask your doctor about that. Okay, insulin. Insulin's job is to escort glucose to cells for energy. With the overabundance of processed carbs, grains, rice, sugar in the diet, the pancreas is working overtime to produce insulin. Insulin's job is to remove sugar from the bloodstream. But when insulin is attempting to work overtime, the insulin receptors become numb to the insulin signal. According to Dr. Robert Lustig, medical doctor, almost one-half of the U.S. adult population is insulin resistant and approaching type 2 diabetes. With communication broken down, the cells become resistant to insulin, and the liver will eventually convert the excess glucose to triglycerides, which also can weaken LDL particles. Getting back to LDL again. With excess fat in the blood triglycerides, triglyceride levels will become elevated, and the potential of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, osteoporosis will dramatically increase. In addition, LDL particles become less dense, there we go, and less stable, which increases the potential of LDL particles becoming trapped inside the blood vessels, leading to oxidation and inflammation. Not good. I hope you understand how that all ties together there, guys. Speaking of inflammation, here we go. The definition: a localized condition in which a part of the body becomes reddened or swollen as a result of an infection or injury. The number one factor in heart disease and most diseases is inflammation. You fall on your elbow and hurt it, it flames up. It gets swollen. You fall on the knee, it becomes swollen. Stomach issues, typically. Gut problems, there's some sort of swelling going on inside the GI tract. LDL particles become trapped in the vessels, causing inflammation as a result of elevated sugar intake, high fructose products, and high starch intake, grains, rice, potatoes. So be careful of that. Ideal readings for cholesterol. So you get your lab report back from your doctor. Your HDL cholesterol ratio. Here's what you do. Divide your HDL total by cholesterol total. 24% or higher is very good. 10% or lower is not very good. Triglyceride HDL level. Divide triglyceride by HDL total. Ideal number is lower than 2. Statin drugs. I've worked with a few clients who are on statin drugs. I will reserve comment on what I think about them. I'll let the facts and statistics just bear out whether you want to do it or not, if you're in that category of life. Statin drugs will lower your total cholesterol. Yep, they'll do that, all right. Statin drugs will weaken steroidal hormone pathway. Statin drugs will lower CoQ10 levels, which is a powerful antioxidant. Statin drugs will increase the risk of diabetes and cancer. Statin drugs will negatively affect the absorption of vitamin D due to low cholesterol. Statin drugs can lead to muscle wasting. Need I say more? Misconceptions in regards to food. Consuming cholesterol-based foods will cause heart disease. Baloney. You must have good dietary fat, not trans fats. I'm not talking McDonald's, French fries, or hamburgers here, guys, but good whole food dietary fats. Consuming cholesterol-based foods will cause unwanted fat gain. Not true. That is not true. Now, if you look at the little pictorial illustration down there, there's an egg yolk. I believe that is a clump of either coconut or butter. I think it's butter. Some sort of beef, and it looks like some sort of organ meat down there at the far right. Those are all good sources of cholesterol. They're good sources as long as they're not highly processed and chemically laden or hormone laden. They're good sources. What is the underlying problem? Is cholesterol really the problem? I say no, it isn't. Or is it how cholesterol is being processed and received by the bodily tissues the problem? I say yes, it is. Is LDL really the problem or really the enemy? Not really. Are you consuming enough good quality fat cholesterol in your diet? Most Americans don't. They don't. They consume way too much carbs. Way too much carbs. Excess carbs. Are there hidden stressors weakening the system and causing dysregulation? Probably. In fact, I'm going to say 99% of the time it is that. Most forms of diseases and illnesses, guys, come from some form of stress in your life. Emotional, physical, nutritional, chemical. It could be a drug you're taking, maybe work in an environment where you're around a lot of chemicals. Something is causing the system to become weakened. And that can lead to problems with cholesterol, how the body's receiving it. Are you looking upstream and peeling away the layers? Cortisol, triglycerides, insulin resistance. Those are important, guys. Getting back to cortisol. Have your cortisol rhythm checked. And you can do that with innovative sports training. I offer that program through my hormonal and biomechanical evaluation. And basically what you do there, you take your cortisol levels 4 times a day, morning, noon, afternoon, and night before you go to bed. And there is a high correlation between cortisol, triglycerides, insulin resistance, and the health of your heart. So check it out, guys. Okay, let's talk about the primal food pyramid. Now, most dietitians that you talk to will probably not approve of the paleo food pyramid. They believe in consuming more carbohydrates, such as whole grains. But I'm here to tell you, I disagree with that. I'm not going to go into great detail on it, but I disagree with it. The bottom line, well, let's talk about these pyramids first. To the far left, the bottom rung, it's mainly fat and protein there. In the middle, those are your fruits and vegetables. Now, guys, those are good sources of carbohydrates. Fruits, and good vegetables. Now, I will give a qualifier to this. There are some people who cannot handle excessive amounts of fruits because of their insulin levels and because maybe they're trying to lose weight. So be cautious of that. But typically, for the healthy person, fruits and vegetables are the best source of carbohydrates. Notice you don't see any bread in there, or any muffins, or any bagels. All from good old Mother Earth. At the very top of that pyramid, you see nuts. I believe those are coconuts up there, seeds and nuts. Now, to the right of that, at the bottom of the pyramid, are fruits and vegetables. It's another way of doing it. If you're more into fruit, if you feel like you can handle fruit and vegetables better than eating more cholesterol and base foods, more fat. But I'll say this, you still need to eat some meat and some sort of fish and seafood because those are your best sources of cholesterol. So at the very top there, once again, there are seeds and nuts. Choose between these two. Bottom line, consume cage-free, hormone-free, free-range, whole fruit foods from a good organic source. My saying is this, if it didn't grow here more than 10,000 years ago, you should not be eating it on a consistent basis. Summary, the good. Cholesterol helps in fighting inflammation, strengthens cell membranes, major producer of steroidal hormones, and enhances vitamin D absorption. The bad. LDL particles can become trapped in the blood vessels causing inflammation, oxidation, and blockage, atherosclerosis. The ugly. due to inflammation, oxidation, blockage, heart disease is inevitable, along with a host of other metabolic disorders. Become a detective, not a dieter. Some people say, well, you know, I got to restrict this, what I eat, and this, what I eat. To an extent, I would agree with that. It's not necessarily calories, it's nutritional density that's the most important, guys. Not calories, nutritional density. Follow the paleo food pyramid. Good organic sources. Your body is talking to you all the time, and if you know how to listen to it, you will know how to adjust, adapt, and find the optimal custom fit eating / physically active exercise program for you. And I can help you with that if you want to contact me. Look upstream and find out what is the underlying cause of the aging disease process. Now here's my hormonal biomechanical screen that I mentioned. We do lab testing, adrenal profile that measures cortisol rhythm, food sensitivity. Are certain foods stressing you out? It is possible. In fact, everybody has some sort of a food that they're sensitive to. Pathogen testing. Do you have any bugs in your system? Immune testing. We test the strength of the immune system. And a metabolic assessment. What is your metabolic type? Body fat analysis. Functional movement screen, in which I measure how well you move in space physically. Do you have any instabilities? Are you immobile? Thyroid test indicators. Customized exercise program. Adrenal stress indicators. Adrenal stress causes. Hormone traits assessment. Now, if you want more information, more detailed information, go to this link at the bottom of the page there. It'll click on, it'll take you directly to my website, and it goes more into details and specifics. Stay tuned for more podcasts in the future. Now, the way I've been doing these, guys, I've just been doing basically presentations myself. I'm going to upgrade this program. In the future, we're going to have guest speakers, which would be like a call-in talk show. You can call in. You can listen for a while. A person from various backgrounds, from nutrition, holistic practitioners, life coaches will be doing presentations on various topics that can help you improve your health. So you can call in, message in, and listen in, and we're going to be doing webinars. These are my websites. Please check those out. I also have a Facebook forum. You can get on Facebook and join that. And at the bottom there is my email address. Please contact me. Be more than happy to work with you guys. My goal is to help educate, 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 educate. I'll leave you with this. Went over a lot of information today, guys, but speak to your medical practitioner before you implement any major changes in your medication or supplements and or physical activity. Bottom line, talk with your doctor first. Thanks for listening, guys. God bless, and have a great, great day.